can also see with respect to the options and also the help you require to some training videos and documentation and guideline with corresponding to that. So this is also very helpful once you get some idea of with respect to whatever we have discussed in these classes. Once you're done with that, you can directly go and see some of the videos classes with respect to that. And I'm currently in the home page. You can see here I'm currently in the home page with respect to the I have just loaded number table. This is the number table and some number sheet is there under that. So you can see here I am currently in the home page corresponding to the new resource. If you want to be entered with corresponding to the new resource, you can directly import by using the SQL server and also click on the more. Click on the more so that you will get some more different sources you want to be specified and some of the different you want to be specified in terms of CSV or the Excel workbook, that is your wish. And something you can see here, something with respect to the recent sources, it basically tells about which recent sources you are going to play around with just now with respect to the Power Query editor. And also see here some enter data, which basically you want to be create a new table by typing or by pasting or in any content with corresponding to that, then just use for the enter data with this. And something related to the data source settings. So this data source settings is very helpful to manage some of the settings in your data sources. At the time you want to be realize that you want to be share or you want to be open some of the settings. Let's click on and also do some kind of the analytics way of thinking with respect to the data source settings. I have just now clicked. It is giving asking that what exactly you can see what exactly data source settings, manage the data source setting that you have to be connected to using Power BI desktop. Data source in current file or global permissions you want to be specified. Okay, so at the time it's going to be give some of the options to change your source or clear permissions like that. So but based on your requirement you can do the data source settings as you need it. This is the data source tab and this is the new query tab. This is the close tab and you can see something related to the parameters and also the query. So parameters is basically tells about which and view or you can say some modifications of the parameters in the file. Okay, and you can see we have different parameters. You can have to manage parameter. You want to edit some of the parameters. You can create the new parameter that can be used for the reference for the other queries in these files. So we will also see a little later how does this going to be very helpful with the some of the parameters. And another tab is with respect to the query, which basically tells about what exactly the property we want to be showcased in the name or the description of that query. And if you want to refresh your preview, once you've done all the transformation, you can also preview by using this button. This is going to be helpful for the preview for the all the refresh or only for the preview page. And manage is very basically helpful to your some of the queries like deletion or duplication and also some of the reference. And something related to the advanced editor, which basically tells about the editing dialog with to view or modify the entire text in the query. And another tab with respect to the manage columns. If suppose you want to manage some of the columns in your data set, you can directly pull down these manage columns, choose columns, and also the remove some of the columns. We have different options. Other columns are only those columns like that specifically mentioned those columns. Choose some of the columns and go to that column if you want to be specifically mentioned by using this manage columns. And something called as with respect to the keep rows and removing the rows. Keep rows is basically helpful to understand keeping the top rows. Okay, so keeping the only the top 10 in rows and also the top 10 bottom rows, and also the keep range of the rows is basically tells about the specify the number of the rows to keep starting at a specific row. And also the duplications, you if you have any duplicate values in the current or selected columns, you can directly specify that. And something you can see here related to the keep errors. So specifically mentioned you have any kind of the error, you have to be keep that errors. You don't want to be delete those errors at the time, you can directly specify the keep errors. Yeah, you can also see here with respect to the removing columns. If I click on this, you will also see the remove columns and is going to be selected only the removing columns. Others is basically tells about remove all the columns from the table except the current selected columns. And another tab with respect to the reduce rows. So we want to reduce some of the rows. We have seen how to manage the columns. We can also see the rows, how to the rows. So keep the rows stay the same. If corresponding to the top 10, you can say the top 10 rows you want to be stay the same. Similarly, whatever see in the columns, bottom and also the range of the rows you want to be specified corresponding the range and keep rows and also the errors.